Guys are tuning into this and you're seeing it on YouTube. You guys are seeing the replay of my live. I'm currently live, so let's see what questions the people have for us tonight in terms of astrology and even metaphysics. What I decided to do, since a lot of you guys can't tune into the lives, is when you guys do see this replay on YouTube, leave me the questions in the comments below, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to address them the next time that I do a live. So I'm going to do it that way, just so we're a little bit more efficient with the time also, because usually in the earlier part of the live, the people are still coming in. So I do have a question actually from someone from the most recent live that I did. They left the question on under the comments. Welcome to all of you joining. Let me know if you guys have any questions about astrology or metaphysics. So this question is, how do you deal with the Aquarius rebellion / contrarian nature? It's so annoying for their Capricorn and Libra way of doing things. So, and this is for PB, by the way. So, hey PB. So basically, if you do have this Aquarian energy and it is basically having you be a little bit more oppositional in terms of your energy, the only thing I can really suggest is awareness. At the end of the day is all you can really do, and know that like sometimes you're having that ego battle. Because what I notice a lot of the time tends to happen is the Aquarius energy has a lot of ego. Okay, a lot of these fixed signs have ego that they have to work through and that they have to push through. So because of this, you guys might have to push through certain situations when you do have that, energy that's kind of like forcing you to go against the norm. It's like this resistance energy is really what that is. A lot of the time, what I do really is I ask myself and I'm like, okay, is this resistance? Hey, Bernard. Oh my gosh. Hi. Welcome. You caught me live. Let me know if you have any questions, and everyone in the room, I'm going in order. So let me know in the comments below. But basically what I was saying was, anytime you have resistance in your body, you can always tap in and see, is this resistance preventing me from what I'm trying to do, or is it something that I have to push through? Do you guys have any questions? Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below. We are doing astrology, natal chart questions, even metaphysical questions. If you guys have any questions about metaphysics, how are you doing, Burner? What is new? What's going on? You heard Uranus MC can make somebody have sudden fame. Oh, that's interesting. That's really, really interesting. I can see that happening because Uranus does deal with sudden abrupt change and is aspecting the 10th house. I can totally see that happening. I think it depends on a lot of your natal chart as well to see what is aspecting. Is it in like a positive aspect? Is it in like a negative aspect? So I can see that though, because again, the 10th house does deal with your public image. But even for fame, there's a lot of things you want to look for in a natal chart as well. There's a lot of indications to see. And also, is it going to be long-term fame? Is it going to be shorter-term fame? Is it going to be things like going viral? Like, what kind of fame is it going to be? Welcome to everybody joining. We are answering astrology questions or metaphysical questions. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I am going in order. You have Uranus in Pisces squaring your Gemini MC. Thank you guys so much for the likes. Uranus in Pisces, it is squaring the Gemini MC. And you're saying, is it going to give you sudden abrupt fame? I'm not sure, to be honest. That's the thing, because it's like Uranus is sudden abrupt change. You'd have to really, really see a lot of the rest of the natal chart. Pisces a lot of the time can deal with a larger purpose as well, serving a lot of people. Can you guess your star sign? I mean, I can't really guess based off of your message below. I'd have to know a little bit more about you as a person to guess. If you guys have any questions about astrology or your natal charts in particular, or if you guys have questions about metaphysics, I will gladly answer them. You guys can let me know in the comments below. I'm going in order. But yeah, in terms of fame indicators, you can look at things. Tell me, what do you want to know? I mean, there's a lot to know about a person to really, really know what your star sign is. But in terms of fame, you'd have to look at a lot of things. You have a lot of 10th house energy. Do you have a lot of things aspecting the 10th house? Do you have a lot of Gemini, Pisces energy can also bring through fame, or working with the public in one way, shape, or form. Pisces in the ascendant can also bring through fame. Looking at Leo, looking at Aquarius, looking at Sagittarius, those are all the public signs. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'm going in order. I'm answering astrology and metaphysical questions today. Thank you, Burner, so much for the likes. I see that you're sending me the likes. You said you have your sun in Leo, sextile MC, and Libra moon, and trine the MC. I can see those things because that's the thing, like Libra. Okay, these are the signs that I feel like are very much working with the public. Leo, Aquarius, Sagittarius, Gemini. Libra is the connector, so it's connecting a lot of people together. Pisces is very much, sometimes for Pisces, it can be karmic or the 12th house in there as well. Things you want to look for are even degrees sometimes. I think 29th degree, I'm not sure about that one, but I know 17th degree, 5 degrees, I know is short-term fame. Things like going viral maybe once. Then you have the 17th degree is going to be longer fame. And I don't remember the other one. It's in the 20s. I'm not sure if it's a 29th degree, but it's 20 something. Welcome to all the people joining. Let me know if you guys have any questions about astrology. I'm going in order. About your natal charts or metaphysics. Welcome to all the people joining. Let me know if you guys have any questions about astrology. I am going in order. You have a fall planet in Saturn and Gemini in the 9th house, or sorry, in the 4th house. What would you like to know? Thank you for the likes. I'm trying to think of what else there is for fame indicators, Brenner. I did do a video. Thank you so much, Mimi. That's such a nice comment. Hey, you're an Aries, Pisces moon, Gemini rising. What would you like to know about that? I do have a video on my, I think it's under career astrology. I did it last year where I talked about some fame indicators. There's several that you guys can see and see if it kind of aligns with your natal charts. What would you like to know about your natal chart, Maddie, in terms of Aries, Pisces moon, and Gemini rising? Same for you with the Saturn planet in Gemini in the 4th house. Let me know what kind of questions you guys have about your natal charts. You'll def look for it. Welcome. What does it mean? Is it bad? Well, honestly, the thing is, okay, here's the thing with Saturn. Honestly, you guys, I don't see anything as good or bad in terms of astrology. I just see it as, you know, there's an energy that might be working against you and you just have to work maybe a little bit harder to balance that energy out. You might have to work a little bit, you know, more on yourself to work these sorts of things out. So when you have Saturn in Gemini in the 4th house, Saturn in the 4th house is going to be issues around the family. When you grow up, there's going to be some sort of restriction on the home. There could be, you know, maybe one or both of the parents are working all the time. It could even be things like you were raised by a grandmother or like extended family when you have Saturn in the 4th house. So there really is like a lack of that mother nurturing type of energy, because think about it. Saturn deals with the father most of the time. If it's not the father, it's going to be the dominant masculine role in your life. The 4th house is the mother. So basically, like, something that can take place when you have Saturn in the 4th house is that the mother can take on the father role, where she's a little bit more cold, a little bit more distant. And there could be restrictions for you around this area. Sometimes people who have Saturn in the 4th house, you know, until their Saturn return, there could be some sort of things going around there with their own home. Usually what might happen is, well, not usually, but sometimes what might happen is around your Saturn return, you might go back into your home to deal with the karmic issues surrounding the family. Because a lot of the time it's like, if you didn't progress past family issues that you have had, it's going to keep repeating in all of your relationships, whether they're friends, whether they're relationships, whether they're, you know, romantic partners, these types of things. So it's going to keep repeating. So a lot of the time around your Saturn return, you go back to the family, maybe go back to your hometown, maybe even go back into the home with a family where it's like, again, you have to work out the karma with the family. Now for you, it's in Gemini. So it's around speech, it's around thinking, it's around your ideas, it's around the written or spoken word. So whoever was the dominant masculine role in your life put a restriction on you in this area. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? I'm going in order for the questions, so you guys can let me know what you guys want to know. I'm going in order. So right now I'm answering. This is for Millie MBV. Says your chart ruler is Mercury at 5 degrees of Pisces in the 6th house. You're a Virgo rising. What would you like to know about that? You want to know anything that comes to mind? Okay, so Aries, Pisces, Moon, Gemini rising. Very interesting, because Aries is all about the forward momentum. The Piscean energy is going to keep you more so in like a lethargic type of energy, if that makes sense, because Pisces is all about the dreams. Pisces is all about being in their minds. The Aries is going to want to pull you out. So you're always going to have that push-pull when you have a Piscean moon and you have an Aries sun. Now, Gemini rising, you're going to be talkative. You're going to have a lot of friends. You might have a hard time keeping secrets, especially about yourself. So let's say you're working on a project and it's like, you know, maybe you really, really want to keep it a secret because it's like you don't want people's energy to get involved. You might accidentally blurt it out because you're like so excited. It's like the inner child when it really comes to Gemini rising. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Maddie says, okay, we did you. Maddie Burner says, I always find your fall planet set up weird. You have Jupiter in Virgo, sextile Saturn in Cancer in the 11th sextile, so it's positive, but it's in the fall, so it's weird. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's so many things going on in your natal chart. Like, there's even asteroids as well. So it's like, there's things that are always balancing out. And then there's also transits, and then there's secondary progressions. So it's like, just because you have your natal chart and you have that snapshot of, you know, who you were when you were born, it doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. So it's like, even if you do have a fall planet or if you have any sort of thing going on in your natal chart, it's going to be temporary. Same thing with the degrees. Like, people freak out when they find out they have 29 degrees because a lot of the time it's associated with negativity. But the way that I see it is like, you have secondary progression. So you're going to progress out of those degrees eventually. So it's only going to be for a brief period of time in your life. That's how I see it, at least. Thank you. You're welcome. Welcome to all the people joining. If you guys have any questions about astrology, natal charts, metaphysics, I am going in order. No worries. I can't read your name. I don't know if it's Bavia. I think that's in Greek, your name. Thank you guys so much for the likes. Let me know if you guys have any questions about your natal charts. Welcome to all the people joining. Hi Heidi, welcome. Do you guys have any questions about your natal charts or astrology in general or metaphysics? I'm going in order. Greek, yes, very, very nice. Are you in Greece currently? Welcome to all the people joining. I'm answering questions about natal charts, astrology in general, maybe questions you guys have about your own natal charts. Oh my gosh, you're from Athens. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Just today I was doing a video on Pallas, who is all about Athena. So that's really interesting that that's coming through. Very, very beautiful place. Pallas is an asteroid in astrology. And that video is probably going to be posted next week. Welcome to all the people who are joining. If you guys have questions about your natal charts, you guys can let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for the likes, you guys. If you have any questions about your natal charts, for those of you who are joining, I'm going in order, so you guys can let me know in the comments below, or any topic we can really talk about. Hi Heidi, you said hello. You have a question about the upcoming full moon, Gemini 16 degrees, and you have Venus at 16 degrees. Yes, okay, so you want to see, okay, when there's any sort of thing going on in the sky, what you guys want to do is you want to see what sign it's in. Where do you have that sign in your natal chart? What house do you have it in? It's going to affect that particular house. So you want to see what house do you have Gemini in. Let's say you have Gemini in the 4th house. Okay, so the full moon's going to bring things up around your family life, your family matters. It's going to bring things up around your home, maybe like an unexpected bill, like these types of things. Because the full moon illuminates, it brings something to the surface. Let's say you have it in the 2nd house. Then in that situation, it's going to be something surrounding your finances. Maybe you get a new job, maybe you find out about something at work, these types of things. So you want to see, whenever there's a transit happening like that, you want to see what house do you have it in, and then whatever house you have it in, that's basically whatever the theme of that transit is going to basically bring to the surface for you. Welcome to all the people joining. If you guys have any questions about astrology, you guys can let me know in the comments below. Do you think Pisces Sun, Aries Moon, and Libra Sun, Gemini Moon would be compatible? Well, you know what? Pisces energy is very much all about unconditional love. And thank you guys so much for the likes. So Pisces energy is very much all about unconditional love. Libra energy is also very much about romanticizing things as well, right? They're very much romantics. So in that sense, there's a match. And then you said you have Aries moon and Gemini moon. The only downfall I can see in that situation is there could be an immaturity when it comes to emotions. But if you guys can like figure it out and talk about things, because communication is going to be important in that situation. Aries moon can sometimes be impulsive, but so can Gemini moon. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like the earlier signs are like the babies of the zodiac. So it's like in terms of their emotional energy, it's like they feel things, they can be very sensitive, they can get very upset very quickly, or they can get offended, like these types of things, right? So that's the only thing I would say to just, you know, make and keep an eye out for. But otherwise, I can see that being a good match. There's a lot of things really to look for in a natal chart when you guys are looking at synastry. There's also houses and there's so many other things. May says, Gemini sun, Pisces moon, Cancer rising, welcome. You're probably super, super psychic and super, super nurturing. Queen of the Nile, ooh, I like your name, says, hey, what would Jupiter and Uranus in your 10th house represent? Jupiter, that's so interesting. If Burner is still in here, Burner was basically talking about how Uranus in the 10th house, which is aspecting your midheaven, can be an abrupt sudden fame, which is interesting. Now, there's a lot of other things to look for in your natal chart when it comes to fame. I did talk about that way earlier at the beginning of the video. So if any of you are on my YouTube channel, it's going to be in the replay. Check it out. It's on Barbara Talks is the name. But that's one thing that could happen. But there also could be sudden unexpected changes in your career. But the thing is, the Jupiter is going to expand that area for you. So it's like maybe being in one career isn't going to be something that's going to be alluring to you, where it's like you're doing something for an extended period of time, because it's expanding and there's abrupt change. So you might be someone who's like takes a project here, maybe even things like freelance could be something that you're interested in. Hey Werner, you're still here. Welcome, welcome. Cindy says, can you have two stelliums at once? Yes, absolutely, you can have two stelliums at once. Now it's interesting, I feel like that's up for debate. Some astrologers say that it's 3 or more planets in the same sign. Some say that it's 4 or more planets in the same sign. So that's really up to your discernment to see which one resonates with you more. But yes, you can definitely have two stelliums happening at once. Thank you guys so much for the likes. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to know about in terms of your natal charts, in terms of astrology or metaphysics in general, if you guys have any questions. You have a strong conjunction with your sun and Neptune. Ooh, that's illusions. There could be certain things that you don't see clearly. It could be even in terms of like your ego, or situations where it's like maybe even affecting your identity. You just like don't see it clearly with the Neptune going on in there. Also though, keep in mind, you guys, what I love about Neptune, Pisces, and 12th house energy, it's like, you know, their visions, like whatever's going on in their imagination can become so real to them that they basically manifest it. So you can be very good at manifesting as well. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? May says, do we have high luck with money in 2023, Gemini? That's a good question. I'm not sure. I haven't seen all the transits. I do know Pluto's going into Aquarius. We do have Pluto leaving Capricorn. So none of those things are really going to affect Gemini, because Gemini is immutable energy. We have Saturn going into Pisces. That's going to be squaring you guys. So there could be some sort of, it kind of depends where you have it in your natal chart, because the square in Pisces could affect you guys. Let's see, what else are you guys saying? You have a mystic triangle in your chart. What does that mean? Are you going to be famous? There's a lot of questions about fame tonight. That's so interesting. There's always a theme in the chat. Which sign is my absolute favorite? Well, here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. There's signs that I like because I personally get along with them best. And then there's, I don't know, you know what? I think through doing astrology, like overall, in terms of like all of the signs, I've just been able to see the positive aspects of all signs and the negative aspects of all signs. So because I can see it like that, I don't have a favorite one in general. I have signs that I personally get along with best based on my personality. So I don't know if that's something you guys are interested in knowing. Catherine says 6th house North Node conjunct Chiron. That's interesting. Last time I had someone in here too with the North Node conjunct Chiron. I'm curious to know if that's actually a common conjunction, or if it just so happens to be a coincidence that you guys end up aligning when I'm live. But basically, like when you have North Node conjunct Chiron, basically your destiny, like what you are working toward in this lifetime and what you're healing at the same time, you guys are basically, it's conjunct, like it's happening at the same time. So it's like anytime you're activating your destiny, you're doing something that is for you, is going to be of service, when you're helping people, when you're healing people. It could even be things like this, right? Anytime you're doing that, and you're doing that in terms of your North Node, which is your destiny, it's also a healing experience for you. It's conjunct. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Virgo rising in December. What would you like to know about that? Which signs do I enjoy? Okay, I personally get along with, I like Taurus energy, I like Leo energy, I like Sag energy. Gemini energy I get along with as well. Who else? Let me try to think. Those are the first ones that kind of at the top of my head. I get along with Aquarius as well. I love Capricorn energy. I really get along with Capricorns. I just love that they're like no BS. Do you know what I mean? I really, really get along with Capricorn energy. But yeah, I would say those are the best ones that, like, in terms of my personality and like the people that I get along with, are like the best ones that I mesh with. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I would say those are my top ones. What else would you guys like to know about? Let me know if you guys have any questions about your natal charts or astrology or anything really in general. Julie says, your son was born with 0 Scorpio 2 minutes into the rising. How do you know if it's accurate and he's not a Libra rising? So interesting. I saw your question earlier on the comments in one of my videos. Here's the thing. So it's like, even if he was a Libra rising later degrees, through secondary progressions, he's going to go into Scorpio rising. But you're saying he was born, so if you have the accurate time, he's going to be a Scorpio rising. Now, what I was thinking when you asked that question originally was to suggest looking at the videos that I have on the rising signs on my YouTube channel. So you can check out Scorpio rising to see if it resonates, and you can check out Libra rising to see if it resonates. Because the thing is, it depends which system you're looking at. Because if you look at whole signs, the risings, I mean, overall, the rising sign is really important because it tells you all of the houses. But in whole signs, it's going to give you a great picture as to what's going on with the descendant, with the midheaven, and what's going on with the IC, the home life. So let's say you have Scorpio in the rising and you're looking at whole signs, your descendant is going to be in Taurus, and then your first house is going to be in Scorpio, and then your 4th house is going to be in Aquarius, and then your midheaven is going to be in Leo. So it's kind of like you can look to see that way to see if that resonates, like what kind of home life he's growing up with in terms of the 4th house. That's one thing you can do. Also, if you're looking at whole signs then with Libra rising is going to give him a Aries descendant. It's going to give him a 4th house in the sign of Capricorn, and then it's going to give him the Cancer midheaven. So that's the thing. That's why the rising is important. So that's one way that you can try to figure it out. I mean, there's people who do chart redactifications. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't do that yet, unfortunately, but there are astrologers out there who do that. And usually you can get your chart redacted. I think it's redacted or redactified. Anyways, you can get your chart looked at by an astrologer based on certain life events that you've had. And then they can give you a new birth time based on your life events. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Hey, Jasmine, what's going on? How are you doing? What's my big 3? Try to guess, you guys. I always love playing that game. If some of you guys know, don't tell the other people. Fabian says, well, for example, what the Jupiter in the 8th house transit means for Virgo risings in December. Usually, I don't do predictive astrology. I just kind of do more so like personality astrology. Okay, so the individual with the Greek name, I keep saying Bavia, I can't read the Greek letters, but let me know what your name actually is so I can say your name correctly. It's that you said you have a fall planet in Jupiter, Cancer, 12 degrees in the 6th house. You want to know what that is. Jupiter in Cancer, 12 degrees in the 6th house. Okay, so Jupiter is all about how you make abundance. So because it's, I guess, in its fall energy, like the fall planet, it's going to be maybe a little bit more challenging for you to make abundance, but you can always look at the bright side to see how you can bring through abundance. So for example, in terms of Jupiter and Cancer, it can be Cancerian things. So it can be things like working from home could bring through abundance for you. It could be things like maybe cooking, you know, doing things like, I don't know if you're interested in being like a chef or something of that sort. Like it really depends on the rest of your natal chart. The 6th house is helping people. So as long as you're being of service and helping people, you're going to be activating abundance. Now, really important not to fall into the shadow aspect of that, where it's like, you're just too much, you know, helping people all the time. And like sometimes people who are like in service industries of that sort, like don't charge for their services for whatever reason. They like want to help people so much that they do it for free. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, make sure there's an equal energy exchange, I guess. Burner says, yes, you're a Leo, Sun, Mercury, and Mars. Oh my gosh, are you? Okay, Sun, Mercury, and Mars. Oh my gosh, okay, so definitely you probably really want to be expressing yourself creatively. You guys are guessing what my big three is. Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, the Miles Marion, welcome, welcome. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're able to be here. We have a few of the regulars. I'm happy that you guys are in here. You feel like I have water placements? Yes, 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 you guys are accurate. You're close. Okay. So I will tell you guys, or mutable signs. Interestingly enough, I don't have any mutable energy in my natal chart. Okay, so my big three are Libra Sun, Libra Rising, and then I have a Scorpio Moon. I have a Scorpio Stellium, I have a Libra Stellium. And then when we look at the dominant, my dominant signs are Scorpio, Cancer, and Capricorn. So those are my dominant signs. Yeah, I don't really have any mutable energy. I only have some Sag placements, but it's not really in any of the personal placements. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Haha, Cindy, yes. Yes, okay, you're feeling Pisces because it's basically all in the 12th house for me. Yeah, it's all in the 12th house. I'm a 12th house person. Jasmine says, what's expected for Cancers this full moon, December 7th, if you know? Okay. So whenever there's a full moon, what you guys want to do, or not just a full moon, like anything, anytime there's a transit, anytime Saturn's going through this, you want to see what house do you have that sign in. So the full moon is in Gemini. You want to see what sign you have Gemini in. If you have Gemini in the first house, then basically the full moon is going to bring things up for you surrounding your identity, yourself, your personality. It could be things maybe you want to change your appearance or whatever it is. It's things like this. So anytime there's any sort of transit, that's how you guys can figure out what's going on for that particular transit for you. So for you, Jasmine, you want to see where you have Gemini in your natal chart to see how it's going to affect that particular house. And you guys can do that. Let's see, what else do you guys think? Rectification, yes, that's the word. What was I saying? Redactification. Oh my gosh. Okay. Vasti is your name. Okay, amazing. Good to know. Catherine says Taurus, Sun, Aquarius, Moon, Gemini rising. Yes, yes, yes. What would you like to know about that? Or were you guessing that for me? I get Aquarius a lot. That's actually really interesting. And I get Gemini rising a lot too. That's really interesting as well that I get that a lot. Interestingly enough, if you look at, I'm trying to figure out where my secondary progressions are, because sometimes when Mercury goes into the first house, it can give you the undertone of having a Gemini rising or a Virgo rising. Yes, yes, yes. I get Gemini a lot. You guys are actually, okay, you guys are actually on the money with that. People guess Taurus a lot. People guess Aquarius a lot. People guess Gemini a lot. And I also get Pisces sometimes. So yeah, I guess that's the vibe that I put out there. Okay, so Julie says he's 10, so you weren't sure rectification will work. Yeah, probably won't work. He's too young. You look at the 4th house. Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, like, when I'm looking at people's natal charts, like the 4th house, I think is going to tell you a lot because it's the IC and it's going to tell you what type of home you had when you grew up, what was going on. I have videos on this, you guys, on my YouTube. If any of you are interested, it's called Barbara Talks. So if you guys don't know what the rising is, like, I mean, if you're unsure, like, where the rising lies, you kind of want to look at that and even the midheaven. But like you said, he's 10. So the best thing you can look at probably is the 4th house. Ben says, can you explain being multidimensional? Like, how do you know what your soul is? Not an astrology question. No, I love all questions. Okay, being multidimensional. So I'm going to take you guys into the crown chakra now for a second. So all of us, we are all multidimensional beings. We are always operating on multiple planes at the same time. Now, I know that might be a little counterintuitive because the plane that we're currently in is very physical, but if you look at time, it's only linear here where we are. So essentially time doesn't really exist. So because of that, you're existing everywhere at the same time. So a lot of the time when people talk about their guides and like all these sorts of things, sometimes the way that I see it, I personally see it as you from the future helping yourself. I know it's going to throw some people for a loop. Like I said, it's up here in the crown chakra, but that's what it is. So all people are multidimensional. All souls are multidimensional. When you're dreaming, you're going different places. Like you're leaving your body, right? Like a lot of the time you might not remember. Sometimes you might remember. A lot of the time I feel like children are very open psychically. So they're a good way to see what's actually going on. You know what I mean? Sometimes I ask like my little cousins, I'm like to them, oh, like, do you guys remember your past lives or like things like that? Because like kids are super open, right? So like they'll be able to tell you these things. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? I'm just going back up. I went down and now I'm going back up again. Yes, 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 the Miles Marion. I'm glad that you're here. I'm doing well. How are you? TikToker says, how does a grand fire trine work with Saturn Aries in the first house? Yes, I have to do a video on the trines Basically, all of those trines are a specific spiritual purpose. With a grand fire trine, it's going to be anything to do with like being seen in one way, shape, or form. So it can be leadership roles, it can be entrepreneurial roles, it could be even things like working with the public. It depends on the rest of your natal chart. Because you have Aries Sun in the first house, Aries Saturn in the first house, it might be challenging for you to express who you truly are, and it might be challenging for you to get motivated. And then you might also have struggles with authority. What tends to happen with Saturn in the first house is that when you're growing up, like most of the time it's going to be the father figure. If it's not the father figure, it can be the dominant masculine role in your life, whoever that was. Whoever was your first authority tends to suppress your personality. And, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's like a jealousy thing going on subconsciously where they don't want you to shine, or like they see you shining before you're aware that you're shining, that you're a shiner. So for this reason, it perpetuates throughout your life. It can happen with your teachers. It can happen maybe then if you're in university with your professors, with your managers, with your colleagues. Like you're always going to have this struggle where it's like people are suppressing your light, but it's like you kind of have to break through exactly that and kind of see it within yourself. What happens most of the time is like the people see it within you before you see it within yourself. So you might be threatening to people because, again, the trines are like a specific spiritual mission that you're here basically to work out. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Virgo energy. Yeah, I get Virgo a lot. It's the eyes. They're so Scorpio vibes. Thanks, you guys. Thanks. I really embrace the Scorpio energy. Also, you guys, in my secondary progressions, at one point in time, like all my personal planets were in Scorpio. So you can only imagine what that was like shadow work to the core. So sad you didn't see that Scorpio and Libra energy. Yeah, for whatever reason, nobody ever guesses Libra. Jasmine says Jupiter is in Gemini. Nice. So basically the way that you make abundance is going to be through Gemini-like things. So it can be talking. It can be through writing, written or spoken words. It can be PR, it can be marketing. What else are you guys saying? I'm going back up. I went down and I went down by accident. Now I'm coming back up. Let's see, where was I? Basia says you have Mercury in Capricorn in the 12th house. Yes, okay, well the Capricorn energy is going to be grounding that Piscean 12th house energy. Mercury in the 12th house is like, you can shoot up into the crown like very easily. You're going to be interested in writing. You're going to be interested in things like the psychic world, the psychic realms, like these types of things are going to be very, very interesting for you. You're going to be very much psychic in that way. You're going to channel maybe even through speech. When you're younger, a lot of the time, you're not going to be understood. You might not even be heard. There could even be an energy of like, even in your family or even in your friend groups, you're talking, but someone starts talking over you. Sometimes you can lose your train of thought because like the Mercury in the 12th house person is like really up here, if that makes sense. Like you guys are really, really able to just like tap into the ether. So you kind of have to be able to ground that knowledge that you guys have because you have so much knowledge. And anytime you guys have 12th house energy in your natal chart, it's like your current purpose is connected closely to your past life. So for you, for example, with Mercury in the 12th house, your current, lesson in this lifetime and purpose is closely connected to some sort of communication skills that you received in a past life or some sort of ideas that you had in a past life that you weren't able to complete. You have to look at 12th house as a completion of a cycle. So whatever planets you have in the 12th house, you're completing that cycle in this lifetime. There could have been something that you mastered in a past life. Even Mercury in the 12th, for example, like maybe you were incarcerated in a past life, you spent a lot of time in isolation, and boom, you developed your psychic gifts. Now, in this lifetime, you come with that gift already. You're already psychic, for example, or intuitive, or however way, shape, or form you guys want to label it. But that's really what that is. And now because you have this, you guys don't have to work on that because it's already there. You just have to find a way to express it so people can understand what you're saying. Jasmine says it's in the 11th house. You said, oh, it's your Jupiter that's in the 11th house. See, Jupiter in the 11th house sometimes can have a large following online. If you're still in here, burner, that's another one of the fame indicators. Sometimes you also want to look at the 11th house as well. Way earlier, we were talking about some fame indicators in your natal chart. I did do a video way back last year for just a few. There's a lot that you can look at. But yes, 11th house sometimes can indicate fame, especially if you have Jupiter in the 11th because it does deal with the internet. It can be large followings online on social media, especially because you have Gemini. So you're going to be creative, you're going to be talking, so it's going to be through your speech of some sort. I'm curious to know if you're ever interested in doing a YouTube channel or TikToks or something of this sort. The Miles Marion says, what do you think about Lilith in Libra in the 11th house? Okay, so Lilith are our shadows in life. Okay, so it's the black moon. So Lilith in Libra in the 11th house. So for you, like shadows that you have to integrate. That's the thing. You kind of have to see what else is going on in your natal chart. Do you have any conjunctions, all these sorts of things, or oppositions or whatever to that particular placement? Because the Lilith is basically an area that you have to integrate in this lifetime. is really what that is. So for you, the shadows of Libra, so wherever you guys have Lilith, the house is the area, and then the sign are going to be the traits. So for example, with Libra, you have to look at the shadow traits of Libra. Shadow traits of Libra can be things like people pleasing. It could be things like boundaries could be an issue. It could be things like, overly focused on your friends and not so much focused on yourself, because Libra creates their identity through other people. So these could be some things that you have to integrate within yourself. 11th house is going to be the Aquarian energy. So it's going to be things like maybe being detached or these type of house in there. Also with the 11th house, what's coming through to tell you, this isn't necessarily the 11th house, but well, it is and it isn't at the same time. The 11th house deals with your ideas. It deals with sharing your ideas and all these sorts of things. So maybe you have some sort of ideas that you struggle to share, maybe because you want people's approval, maybe you want your friends to like you, like these types of things. So that's kind of how it works. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Let me go back up. I go down and then I come back up. What else are you guys saying in here? Vasya says, is that the only planet you have in the 12th house? Which one is it? Ben says, okay, what does a grand trine need to be activated? The thing is, honestly, like what I'm going to tell you guys is like awareness is the biggest thing, and kind of like, I don't know, a lot of the time it's really just like listening to your intuition, because I feel like our higher selves are guiding us most of the time, but there's a lot of things that get put on us, whether it's through school, friends, when you're growing up, or whether it's through family belief systems, whether it's just through society, like these types of things. So I feel like if you're able to silence all of that and like really tune in and be like, okay, what is it that I want to do? Something that's a good way of knowing what it is that you want to do is like looking back to see when you were a kid. Because going back to what I was saying to you guys earlier about children being super psychically open, like you already know things when you're a kid. It's just kind of like, for whatever reason, like that third eye, the psychic gifts get shut off. Because again, up until now, like this earth plane's been very material, like energetically wise. It hasn't been very much about the intuition and all these sorts of things. So kids are super, super psychic, right? So kind of try to go back into that inner child and see like, what was it that you liked to do? What did you have talents for? What were your dreams as a kid? Like these types of things. I think that's a good way of figuring out to see what is, that grand purpose. What is it that you're trying to activate? Okay, Ben says, what does Scorpio Sun conjunct Scorpio Jupiter mean? Interesting. So you can make abundance through yourself, through your ego, through your identity, through basically being there, shining, right? Because again, Scorpio sometimes likes to be hidden, but also Scorpio does have an ego sometimes. Scorpio also wants to be seen. That's a huge thing to understand with the Scorpionic energy. Jupiter's going to expand. So you might be interested in things like astrology. I do see you in here a lot of the time. So astrology is going to be a huge interest for you. It could be anything that's hidden. So bringing taboo topics to the surface, anything to do with sex, death, rebirth, joint finances, taxes. It could be money. Money could bring you in abundance. It could be joint finances, assets, like these types of things, working with other people's money when you have Scorpionic energy in there. Cindy says you have Moon and Venus in the 12th house and also Uranus and North Node. All of that is in the 12th house for you. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of 12th house energy. Yeah, sometimes, really depends. Sometimes I see 12th house as, it depends on the individual, like really when I look at their natal chart and I tap into them. So I can't say this is going to apply to everyone, but sometimes I see 12th house as last lifetime. Sometimes I see it as a cleanup lifetime. Sometimes I see it as like a karmic lifetime in the sense where it's like, again, you didn't get to complete things in a past life, so you come through and it's kind of like, it's like an all or nothing type of vibe where it's like, no, next time I'm doing that for sure. Like for whatever reason, when you guys crossed out in a previous lifetime, you were kind of like, okay, I have this desire and it's like, I really want to do this. And for whatever reason, it doesn't get fulfilled in a past life. Sometimes I see 12th house energy like that as well. Thanks for the likes, you guys. I'm glad that resonates with you guys out there. What else do you guys think? Ma says, any recommendations for learning astrology? Recommendations for learning astrology, you have to be super passionate about it. You need to have patience. You need to be very much neutral in terms of your signs. So like any sort of biases you have towards signs, like I know we all joke around and we make memes and we're like, this sign is like that, this sign is like this, or whatever. You had a bad experience with a sign, like these types of things, like whatever, we've all been there, But the thing is, if you're going to be learning astrology, you can't have any bias. That's one thing that I would suggest. You can't be biased towards any sign. You can't go in with like a preconceived notion because there's so much to learn. I would say take it one step at a time, and it depends how you learn, because for me, I kind of learn based off of what interests me the most. So that's how I learn. And another thing you can do in terms of learning astrology is start by, you know, figuring out other people's natal charts, you know, your friends and your family, and seeing if that stuff resonates with them, and seeing like, you know, like the patterns. Because at the end of the day, when we look at astrology, it's patterns, and then it resonates with a lot of people, which is amazing. I see that on like the comments or whatever. It resonates with people, and then it's like, because it resonates with people, you basically, it's like market research, you know what I mean? You basically confirm for yourself, and you're like, okay, this is true. Like these types of things. So you have to have an open mind, and yeah, patience, I would say also. What else are you guys saying in here? Jasmine says you're trying to do birth time retrification for your mom, but you don't know how, so you just look at the fourth. So do you just look at the fourth house? Yeah, so that's what I was recommending earlier. Like, I don't know. It's really hard. It's really hard to do. Like, the thing is, I don't do birth chart. See, this is the thing. I keep thinking it's redactification. Julie said it earlier, but see, I already forgot. And then now you're saying retrification. Okay, so whatever the word is to figure out what your rising sign actually is. You know, I'm sure there are astrologers that actually do that. So maybe you can find one to do, for them to do it for you. That's one thing to do. Another thing, what I was saying earlier is, you know, the thing is with the rising sign, because the rising sign tells you, it depends what system you're looking at. So for example, in whole signs, the rising sign is going to tell you the descendant, is going to tell you the midheaven, is going to tell you the IC, the home life. So it's kind of like, if you look at that fourth house, you can see what resonates in terms of the fourth house, to see like what kind of upbringing that person may have had, or these types of things. But again, you also can look at like certain experiences and like events that have taken place for that individual. But honestly, what I would recommend, if you can find an astrologer who does that particular craft, that particular like a niche, I guess you could say. I'm sure there's a lot if you type them in on Google, then I would do it that way. Otherwise, like, it's, I guess I would say it's just a guessing game to see, and then like intuitively being like, okay, like this resonates, this doesn't resonate. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? Saturn in the 27th degree. What would you like to know? You want to know what that means? Here's my thing with degrees, you guys. I was saying this earlier as well. This is just my opinion. Might resonate with some people, might not resonate. Because I look at secondary progressions and you look at transits, the degree is only going to be there for a certain period of time. Now, Saturn is a slower moving planet, so it might affect you, you know, for a longer period of time. But the thing is, the later degrees, you're basically at the end of that sign. You kind of have to look to see what are the shadows of that sign that you're integrating. Anytime you have Saturn in your natal chart, there's some sort of, I don't want to say struggle, but it's kind of like an uphill battle. Like, there's a huge lesson that you have to learn when you have Saturn in your natal chart. Also, to all of you in here, if you guys aren't subscribed to my YouTube, go check out my YouTube. It's called Barbara Talks. Okay, I'm going back up to see what else you guys want to know. What are good aspects with Saturn in the first house? Good aspects. I'd have to think about that. Hi, Adila. Thank you for being here. Then Miles Marion says, what do you think about Jupiter in Cancer at the 7th house for Libra, Sun, Sagittarius, Rising, and Venus? Jupiter in Cancer in the 7th house. You have a Libra Sun, Sagittarius, Rising, and Venus. You seem, it's very Venusian energy that you have going on in there. Very much Venusian. And the thing is, Jupiter in the 7th house can bring through abundance when you get into a relationship. So you could be one of those people that feels like you need to be in a relationship a lot of the time, or you feel like your life just kind of falls into place when you are in a relationship when you have Jupiter in the 7th. So that could be something that takes place. Also, you have Libra Sun in there, so that would make sense too. But the thing is, the Sagittarius, Rising, and Venus might kind of want to have freedom. So you would have to find someone who allows you to have freedom. You know what I mean? Allows you to kind of do your own thing. Because you might be interested in things like traveling and moving around. Or if you can find someone to do those things with you, like who's on the same page, it could also be very, very balanced for you. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Vasya says, Sag Sun. So you're a Sag Sun. He is an Aquarius. Your moon is in Pisces. One house is, and his is in Virgo. And you want to know if that matches. You're a Sagittarius Sun, and he is an Aquarius. Oh, that's an interesting match, because you guys kind of have the freedom thing going on together. Okay, and then you have moon in Pisces, and his is in Virgo. Those are oppositions, so that could also be a nice match. I mean, I don't see anything, you know, too concerning with that. Let's see what else you guys think in here. Maz says you have a lot of 8th house placements. You have it in Venus, Jupiter, Pluto, North Node, all in Scorpio. Okay, 8th house, 12th house. I have so many videos on my YouTube channel, you guys. because honestly, I could talk for days and days and days and days. There is so much to say. You're going to be super, super gifted in terms of psychic, intuitive. You're going to maybe even have mediumship abilities with 8th house in there. And then you also have North Node in Scorpio. So that's going to be very much, what's the word? Yeah, just like intuitive. Also, there's going to be a lot of trauma that you have to integrate in your life, or just emotional upheaval when you do have a lot of that 8th house energy going on in there. Also, because it is Scorpionic energy, you're always healing feminine manipulation. That's a huge thing to understand with Scorpionic energy. You're healing the feminine line. Okay, so now most of the time it does start with the mother when you've got a lot of that 8th house going on in there. But if it's not the mother, you can look at whoever was the dominant feminine role in your life. Maybe it was your grandma or whoever. Because that's the thing, Scorpios are always kind of like, is this person lying? Is that person not lying? Because when they were growing up, it's like there's something there that just like wasn't matching, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So it makes them extra sensory because there was something hidden when they were growing up. This is the 8th house and Scorpionic energy as well. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Amanda says, would you say that your house placement is your secondary? Would you say that your house placement is your second planetary placement? Can you please reword your question? May says, why is it hard for Gemini to have a partner? It is hard for them. Honestly, like I think the Gemini energy is very challenging because it's like these are a few things with the Gemini energy. First of all, it's the earlier signs, so they're very youthful in that sense. So they're going to be, first of all, immature in that way. Again, I'm not using immature in a negative term. I'm just saying they are more youthful. They're more childlike. That doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to be mature. So they're going to be very much energetically scattered. You have to look at Gemini energy as like a kid in a candy store. Everything's like, this is new and this is new and this is new. If you look at like Gemini energy compared to Pisces energy, Pisces is very much like, okay, like I've already done this rodeo. I'm over it. Like I'm just going to chill in my corner over here and observe, everything. Where Gemini is like a kid, everything's exciting. So there's that. Because everything's exciting for them, it might be challenging for them to stick to one person because it's like, this person's interesting and that person's interesting. They're all about the mind. That's another thing. They connect intellectually with people, not so much emotionally. Now, it doesn't mean they can't connect emotionally because a lot of the time the mind and emotions get connected, right? But because they connect intellectually, they're going to be more into interesting people. And a lot of the time they need the versatility, they need change. So these could be a few reasons. These could be just a few reasons. Again, it depends really on the rest of your natal chart. Adelia says, Placidus or hold sign, which one is better in your opinion? Okay, so what I always say for this question is like, it really depends on what resonates best with you. That's the thing. It really resonates like which one of the systems does your own personal natal chart resonate the best? And then if you're going to teach astrology or if you're going to look at other people's natal charts, you have to base it off of to understand here. So I wouldn't say one is worse. There's benefits to each. For example, in a whole sign, you have a sign occupying each of the houses. In Placidus, sometimes you don't have a sign occupying a house, but then it's going to be intercepted, which has its own meaning as well. So you really have to see what resonates with you the most. That's the thing. So, again, there's no better or worse really at the end of the day. Ma says, interesting. You've got Saturn and Pisces in the 12th house. Love the past life dialogue. Amazing. I'm glad it resonates. Yes, I did do a video on Saturn in the 12th house, so that might resonate with you. You can check it out on my YouTube. It's called Barbara Talks. Also, Saturn in Pisces is having their Saturn return starting next year. You didn't hear, your earpiece fell out. Oh no, what was the question? I'm like behind in the comments. I'm going in order, you guys. So you guys can keep messaging at the bottom. I'm just going in order. Vassia says, thank you for your answers. You are very welcome. Catherine says, also, what does this little 12 thing mean beside your name, Catherine? Anyways, Catherine says, 12th house, south node, conjunct fortune. 12th house, south node, conjunct fortune. Okay, so your abundance in this lifetime is closely connected to your past life. And plus you have it in the 12th house. So there's karma to clear around that. So it's kind of like, for you in this current day lifetime, anytime you guys have 12th house in your natal chart, you're basically coming through to either relearn or clear that particular lesson or complete a cycle. So for you, because it's the fortune, there's something surrounding money, there's something surrounding abundance that, again, maybe there's a fear around it in a past life for you that took place. Can you let me know what sign you have it in, your south node? And it's interesting because it's going to be opposing your north node, which then in that case, also, this is interesting that this is coming through, which in that case, your abundance in this lifetime, like you could struggle to make abundance because it's like you could focus on your past life talents and skills, if that makes sense, and not focus on what you're meant to do in this lifetime. So that could be something that takes place. That's interesting that that's coming through. Okay. Burner says you have a grand air trine. Oh my gosh, amazing. I find the trines to be like a very specific spiritual purpose for you with the air trine. It's going to be through the mind. So it can be through written or spoken word. And once again, because it is that great spiritual purpose, I remember you asking about the fame way at the beginning. So that could be another indicator in there as well. You said it's between Moon, Neptune, and Venus. And you said you agree you always were a very great talker, but too shy. That's probably the Neptune in there. Or if you have 12th house anywhere, that could be part of that. Too shy, but when you're talking, you can talk extremely well. And your voice is very animated, and you got a mean voice expression game. So yeah, that great grand trine. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, see, that's the thing. If that individual who was in here earlier asking about how to activate. So the thing is, what I find a lot of the time, like whatever you're meant to be doing in this lifetime, a lot of the time, that's the area you're going to have the most amount of struggles with. Like, I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but it's like anytime, for example, you see people going viral on TikTok or talking about their stories and these types of things, like in these situations, like these people have been through something, right? And it's like they went through that so they can help other people with their situation, right? So it's kind of like with like a similar situation, like if those other people are going through it as well. So it's kind of the same thing, like the area that you're struggling in this lifetime could be the area that you're actually meant to master. That's why I love Saturn personally. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. How would you perceive Pluto, Venus, and Sun in the 9th house? Pluto, Venus, and Sun in the 9th house. So the 9th house is that Sagittarian energy. It does deal with your freedom. It does deal with your higher mind. So Pluto, anytime you have Pluto going through anything, you're going through transformations. Now you have Pluto conjunct your Venus, and it's conjuncting your Sun. So first thing that's coming through to tell you is there could be ego when it comes to your relationships. That could be something that takes place. Another thing is your relationships can be very Plutonian, like very transformative with the Pluto conjunct Venus going on in there. And even yourself, like your identity can go through a lot of shifts. Like there's probably a lot of like deaths and rebirths that happen in your life where it's like your ego like really gets broken down. But overall, like your biggest changes are going to happen through the higher mind. It's going to happen through you asking the philosophical questions in life. The thing is that you're interested in astrology, right? So it's things like this, where it's like you're looking at philosophies, you're looking at belief systems. That's that 9th house energy. Same thing with Venus in the 9th house. Sometimes there's a lot of things that can indicate this, but sometimes Venus in the 9th house can indicate that you'll meet your lover or partner abroad, or it can be in a foreign country, or you guys can both be from different backgrounds. It could be something of this sort, maybe speak different languages. What else are you guys saying in here? Let me go back up. Julie says, in a whole sign, you're a Pisces rising, Moon, Mars in the 1st house. Placidus, they move into the 12th house. Is one more correct? Accurate. One is more accurate. Okay, this is the thing. Honestly, what you guys have to do is what I will suggest. You guys don't have to do anything. But what you guys want to do is you guys want to see what resonates with you the most. That's the thing. So in Placidus, when you have it in the 12th house, you're basically going to feel like you're clearing a lot of karma in this lifetime. You feel like there's a lot of uphill battles, especially in the earlier part of your life. That's one thing. That's the 12th house energy. There's a huge difference between 12th house and 1st house, because 1st house is like you're here to shine, right? You're here to, be that number one, the leader, like all these types of things. So that could be something that takes place. Now, most of the time, the rising is going to be in the 1st house. So it's interesting that you're getting it in the 12th house in Placidus. I've seen that happen to some people, but most of the time the rising has to be the 1st house, and then the rest of the houses follow. So that's the biggest difference between 12th house and 1st house. Now, the next thing to look at is if in the earlier part of your life, maybe you felt foggy, you felt clouded, you felt like you had a lot of, again, karma to clear. Now looking back, when you look back at it, the thing is your signs go through secondary progressions. So you would have progressed out of 12th into 1st. So it's like you kind of have to see where you're at now, because it's like, did you progress out of 12th into 1st, or did you progress out of 1st into 2nd? Because if you went out of 12th into 1st, it's like around your Saturn return. I mean, not always, it depends, right? It depends on which planet is moving, but usually around that time, like as time goes on, you progress, right? So it's like, do you feel like with time, you came out of this like clouded energy? That's the 12th house, it's like clouded, right? Into the 1st house where you're like, okay, now I'm here to shine. Or did you go out of 1st house, which is Aries, you initiated something, maybe you started a business, whatever it is, and now you're building towards something in terms of that 2nd house. So you can look at it that way to see, again, which one resonates more for you. Do Mercury have a lot of trines? Because you can remember a lot plus speak. Do your Mercury have a lot of trines? Because you you can remember a lot plus speak so clearly and quickly. Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that earlier actually, because sometimes when you guys ask me questions, I can actually remember. You know what's interesting though? Apparently Cancer placements can have photographic memory. So I don't know if that resonates with anyone in here, but yeah. I don't have any trines in my natal chart. I'm not sure if that's what you were asking, but no, I don't have any trines in my natal chart. Keep liking and sharing my girl's life. Oh my gosh, you're so awesome. Thanks for being so real, burner, and thanks for always being here. The Miles Marion says, oh my God, thank you for your answer. Yay, I'm glad it resonated. I know I answered it way long ago, but I don't remember what it was exactly, but I'm glad it resonated. You also said, as a Libra having moon in Aries, you are at war inside with yourself every day. Sometimes you can't deal. Yeah, I know. Those oppositions are really challenging, especially when you have Libra and Aries, because Libra wants to people please. Aries wants to say F everyone, like forget everyone and like let me do my thing. Yeah, that's like a challenging opposition to have. So I can totally understand where you're coming from. Let's see what else you guys saying here. What do you think when someone's Venus/Sun is in your 12th house conjunct your Lilith? Interesting. I would say this is a lot of shadow work that's being cleared up through this relationship. And with the 12th house, is going to be a past life dynamic between the two of you. So someone's Venus/Sun is in your, so their Venus/Sun is in your 12th house. So that's a past life connection and it's conjuncting your Lilith. So yeah, you're probably making that person do shadow work. Like you're probably triggering them a lot. Maybe they're not even aware. I don't know. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? May you ask a question on Saturn transit? Yes, what would you like to know? Aries and Saturn trouble. Yes, absolutely. So Saturn transiting your 7th house, which you have Pisces. Saturn is transiting your 7th house. So is your Saturn in the sign of Pisces? Vasya says you have Chiron in Capricorn. Yeah, so Chiron is the area you're healing through in this lifetime. When you have it in Capricorn, basically what you're going to be healing through is money. You know, when you're building towards something, when you're getting the status, when you're getting promotions at work, all of that is very healing for you. Chiron, so this is for Cece. What can you say about Chiron and Libra in the 4th house? Okay, a lot of Chiron questions tonight. There's always a theme in the chat, which is what I love. It's like you guys like are on the same frequency and you all like gather to each other. Anyways, so Chiron and Libra in the 4th house. Okay, so this is the area that you're healing through in your lifetime. The 4th house is going to be the home. So matters around the home are going to be very healing for you. Maybe having your own place is going to be a very healing experience for you. Maybe having a very nice place. The home is going to be very healing, right? So it's like in your home you heal. Having a nice home is healing. Being in your home is healing. Like it's kind of like, you know, it's the crab. Like you want to go into your home. Now Chiron in Libra is all about the aesthetics in life, the Venusian things. So maybe when you spoil, blah, 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 blah. Maybe when you spoil yourself and you go to a concert of some sort, or like a classical concert, or things like a museum or art or whatever it is. When you do Venusian-like things, it's going to be very much a healing experience for you. That's the thing with Chiron. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Let's see. I'm going back up. Catherine says your 12th house south node is conjunct Fortune in Leo, but that's also conjunct Saturn and Mars. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, that Saturn energy is just tricky. But the thing is, if you guys need to know anything about Saturn, is that eventually it does reward you. It's just going to be like a long and drawn out process. Because look, for you, I remember saying to you earlier, the money thing is it's connected to your past life, and then you have Saturn in there as well. So there could be things that you have to work through surrounding like belief systems around abundance, these other things. Because Fortune in Leo is going to make money through being creative. Because it's conjuncting your south node, it's like there's probably something that you already did in a past life that you're not meant to be doing in this lifetime. So you have to find a way to be creative that's going to resonate more with that north node. So for you, north node would be in the 6th house, and it's going to be in Aquarius. So it's like in a past life, you could have been creative maybe in like a more physical way. So it's like maybe you were an actor or actress or like a jester, or it could have been things like this, whereas like Aquarius is about the mind. They're creative with their ideas. So that's the thing, because like the south node pulls you into the way that you were once before, and it pulls you into the comforts, the familiarity, like the soul remembers on a soul level, right? So in this lifetime, you're meant to go toward the North Node. That's the thing. They say when we complete the North Node, we cross out of the Earth plane. So you have to look at the North Node as something that you're working toward. Adelia says, 7th house ruler in the 1st house or 12th house. What do I say about it? Yes, I just did a video on this in terms of your spouse and your partner in life. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you guys can definitely check it out. 7th house ruler in the 1st house or the 12th house is going to tell you more about how you might meet this person, what kind of person this might be. So if you have it in the 1st house, it's like this person might be very much masculine energy dominated. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female. They might want to have things their way. They might want things to go a certain, again, they kind of want a person who's going to be like a yes person, you know what I mean? Like someone who's going to be like a team. It could even be like a power couple type of dynamic. 12th house can be past life connection. Let's see. Thanks so much for the likes, you guys. What else are you guys saying in here? Vasya says, Chiron in Capricorn, 1st degree. Oh my gosh, baby Capricorn in the 11th house. You don't know what that is. Okay. So, I think I answered Chiron in Capricorn for you already. So the 11th house, I don't know if you were still in here when I was answering. Oh wait, never mind. That was the 4th house. Okay. The 11th house deals with Aquarius. So basically what you're healing through the area, it's going to be the mind. It's going to be through your ideas. And the thing is, Aquarius tends to be ahead of their time. So unfortunately, like, they share their ideas when they're younger and then like they don't take off because it's ahead of their time, and then they might like kind of retract back and not share their ideas. My suggestion to these people is always to write them down because they're going to come in handy in the future because you're ahead of the collective. Back in the day, they used to say that it's like 5 to 10 years ahead of your time, the Aquarius energy. Now the frequency of the planet is higher, so everything's happening faster. So I want to say it's less time now. Maybe you're 2 years ahead, whatever. Maybe you're like even 1 month ahead. But you're ahead of your time is really what that is, and you're ahead of the collective. So that's one thing you guys can do. Another thing you can do is just, the thing is you're always going to be creative. Let me just put my charger here. You're always going to be creative in all these sorts of things. So in terms of your ideas, so it's going to be healing for you, right? That's Chiron. It's the area that you're healing in. It's going to be healing for you to express this. Let's see what else you guys think in here. No worries, no worries, no worries. I still got you what you're trying to say. The Miles Marion, let me go back up. Hold on. Miles Marion says, Moon in Aries, Venus in Saggy, Venus. Okay, Moon in Aries, Venus in Sag. His moon is in Cancer and Aries, Venus. Who's the red flag? Oh my gosh, I'm dying. Who's the red flag? Honestly, if I had to pick, it's going to be the cis-het male with the moon in Cancer, because it's like they have a lot of feelings and it's very feminine energy based, and a lot of the time they don't have an outlet for their feelings. Now, if you are Gen Z or younger, where that's all starting to switch up, which is amazing. But if you're maybe millennial or older, there could be issues around expressing of emotions or things like sometimes I find moon in Cancer. Now, this is more so, I would say, resonates for cis-het males. So for them, because they don't have an outlet for their emotions, it goes 2 ways. Either they repress the energy and then it turns into an eruption, or sometimes they can go into escapism where it's like alcoholism, because again, they're numbing the emotions, or it can go into like an overflow, you know what I mean, where it's just like so much is happening. So they kind of go through the extremes. So it's just a matter of, again, figuring out a way to release this energy out of your system. Let's see. What else are you guys saying in here? No, it's not, but once it moves next year, yes, you are a Virgo rising. Amazing. Bill Key says, 7th house Chiron in Scorpio. He's 32 and you're 33. He's always, he's too emotional sometimes. Yeah, that's basically, that's the thing. Okay, so Pluto and Scorpio generation, like, honestly, I don't know what happened with, actually, I do know what happened. With the millennial generation, the hookup culture got imposed on them. So it's just like the Pluto and Scorpio generation, which is predominantly the millennials, except on the tail ends, you're going to have the outliers. Some are going to be Gen X according to the dates, and some are going to be Gen Z. But overall, if you have Pluto and Scorpio, you're clearing the millennial karma. So with this whole generation, okay, basically what's happening is there is anything Scorpionic like. So it's things that are hidden, things that are being brought to the surface, sexuality, all these sorts of things. So you kind of see how that energy manifested in the generation in terms of hookup culture, right? So that's one thing that took place. Now, another huge thing with the Pluto and Scorpio generation that they're healing and clearing is the mother wound. So there's a lot of things going on in terms of Pluto and Scorpio, once again, cis-het men, because what I've noticed, and this is just my observation, okay, so maybe it's accurate, maybe it's not accurate, because I find Gen Z, which is Pluto and Sag, they're more balanced energetically in terms of masculine and feminine energy. What's happening with the Pluto and Scorpio generation, it's kind of like the males, like the cishet males, it's like they basically are being pulled to heal that feminine aspect of themselves, but I'm just like, is it actually happening? I don't know. Anyways, let me go back up. Loved your 7th house video. Oh my gosh, yay, I'm so glad it resonated. Okay, so back to your question, Bill Key. I went down, but I came back up to you, so I hope you're still in the room. Okay, so 8th house. Okay, so Chiron is what you're healing through in this lifetime. So you have Scorpio in 8th house, which is pretty much very similar energetically. The 8th house is going to be things surrounding sex, death, rebirth. When I say death and rebirth, it's like metaphorical more so, okay? It's all about your, changes in life, your transformations, the things that you are going through in terms of internal change. It could be that, but it could also be death. Like when you have 8th house in your natal chart, there could be death that you're surrounded by from a young age, and you have to integrate that energy within yourself. A lot of the time, 8th house people are going to have mediumship abilities, again, because you're connected to that death energy. Sometimes 8th house people are going to even be interested in things like being like a mortician and these types of things. It's just like, that's like 8th house. 8th house is on such a range. It can also be things like joint finances, money, taxes, the occult, astrology. So anytime you're engaging in any of these things, it's healing for you. You're healing through this. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? You'll tell him that, thanks, sis. Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be worked on for Pluto and Scorpio generation. Okay, so back up to the Miles. Marion says, sis, you're a Libra, but your dominant sign is Capricorn. What does that mean? You have a lot of 10th house energy. Yeah, that's the thing. The dominant signs, I feel like the dominant energies in your natal chart are going to more so tell you more so about your personality than let's say, for example, like I have a stellium, right, in Libra, but my dominant is also Capricorn is one of them. So it's like, because of that dominant energy, it kind of still overpowers your natal chart is really what that is. So you resonate more so with that energy. So basically what that means is you resonate more so with that energy. And in terms of Capricorn, you're going to go through a lot in your life when you have a lot of Capricorn, or if you're ruled by Saturn as well. You notice I don't do birth chart readings. I do. It's on my website. You guys can check that out. It's all available on my website. It is under the shop, so you guys can check that out. And check out my YouTube, you guys. It's called Barbara Talks. I have so much more information on there. Adelia says, you will definitely check out my 7th house videos. Thank you so much for answering. No worries. Let's see. Vasya says, if you have a fall north node in Gemini in the 5th house, you don't know what that means. I explained it so well. Yay, I'm glad that it resonated. You said he's a Pisces again. Okay, so here is, once again, my opinion. So I find that the water signs and the air signs are more feminine energy leaning. And then you have the earth signs and you have the earth signs and you have the fire signs that are more so masculine energy leaning. So that's the thing. So this is for the Miles Marion, because you have your male. Oh my gosh, I said you have your male. You have your, I'm guessing this is your boyfriend. You have your boyfriend who is Cancer moon, and now you also said he's a Pisces. So he's water dominant. So he's going to be more so leaning in the feminine energy. The people, and this is the thing, we all have masculine energy within us. That's the whole thing that people need to understand. So the matter of the situation, what we all want to do is we want to balance these energies within us. You want to be able to use the feminine when you're being intuitive, when you're being creative, when you're nurturing something like nurturing a project, when you are being caring and these types of things. So you want to use the feminine, but you also want to have the masculine. The masculine is going to put these things in effect. Let's say someone's more so in the feminine energy. This person might have a lot of ideas, but let's say they lack masculine energy, which might be Piscean people in general, right? So it tends to happen with Piscean people. They tend to have all these ideas and dreams and visions and all these things they want to do, but then they might lack direction. They are the fish. And the thing is, with the Pisces energy, unconsciously, they're always looking for people to lead them, to guide them, to take their hand and help them unconsciously. This is all unconsciously. That's why a lot of the time you're going to notice Pisces people attract Virgo people, because Virgo people are going to grab the Pisces person and going to be like, okay, let's go. You know, that's kind of what tends to happen. So because it's happening unconsciously, because it's like the fish, you kind of have to look and see like what was happening with the overall norms in society during that time. That's why I was saying the Pluto and Scorpio thing. So for example, in the millennial generation, which is Pluto and Scorpio, which is what you and your boyfriend are a part of, in that generation, the gender norms, right, and you know, the roles or whatever were a certain type of way. So it's like, if they're a certain type of way and this person is more so in the feminine energy, that energy can get suppressed. So for example, maybe his creativity is going to get suppressed, or maybe he's gonna have, you know, emotions that need to be processed. Like, I'm kind of just giving random examples so you guys can understand, but that's kind of how it works with the masculine and feminine energy. So slowly we're going into more balanced times. You can see this really with Gen Z, like they're very much balanced energetically. And you can see also with Gen Z, like even in terms of their appearance, like they're very balanced in terms of masculine and feminine energy. Okay, let's see what else are you guys saying in here. Bill Cree says, you struggle to understand finances and taxes, LOL. There you go. That's that Chiron in the 8th house. When is my B-day? September 29th is my birthday. Mark your calendars, you guys. It's September 29th. Let's see. User 517, etc. says, Uranus conjunct ascendant, North Node, Leo, Saturn conjunct IC. Okay, hold on. Uranus is conjuncting your ascendant. Your North Node is in Leo and Saturn is conjuncting your IC. Okay, Saturn conjuncting the IC is going to be struggles when you were growing up in terms of your home, in terms of your family life. You could have had the roles reversed with the parents when the Saturn's conjuncting the IC. Maybe the mother took on the father role. There could be something of that takes place. Maybe the mother was the authority in the home. That could be something that takes place. Now, the Uranus conjuncting your ascendant, that's an interesting placement to have, because that's sudden or abrupt change. So you can have sudden abrupt change in terms of your personality. You can just be very quirky. You can be very different. You want to be set apart from the crowd. You're going to be ahead of your time. You're going to have a lot of ideas. You might be interested in fashion. You might be interested in starting trends. You might do different hairstyles or just like things that make you stand out, right? Maybe half of your hair is going to be pink. The other half is going to be green, like whatever it is, right? So that's kind of like that Uranus conjuncting your ascendant. You're going to be different, and you're going to like different people. Like for you, normal people are going to be boring. You know what I mean? You want people who are different. You're going to be like, what are your quirks? And tell me about like the strange aspects of you. Like you could be interested in things like this. What else are you guys saying in here? Your sun's conjuncting the midheaven. So sun conjunct the midheaven is actually a really good placement to have. Sun in the 10th house. That is another one of the fame placements. So that was a question way earlier at the beginning. Sun in the 10th house can be this. Because again, your personality is, again, you're dealing with the public. The Miles Marion says, you are so damn right. All you said about me and him too. Yay, that's why Monday is my best day. I love it. What else are you guys saying in here? Adelia says, you have Chiron in the 7th conjuncting W moon. What is W moon? And Mercury in the sun, also in the 7th, all in Capricorn. Venus opposite Jupiter. Okay, hold on. Let me go back up here. Okay, Chiron in the 7th conjuncting W moon. Let me know what W moon means. And then you said you have Mercury and Sun also in the 7th house, all in Capricorn. That's a lot of 7th house energy. Relationships are going to be very important to you. Also, with... oh my gosh. I don't know why I was thinking maybe W meant water moon. Okay. So what I want to tell you guys about 7th house is, yes, it's about relationships. Yes, it's about marriage. Yes, it's about like, you know, finding a partner, all these types of things. But what's an interesting thing about the 11th house is you guys can be very good business people. You guys could be very good at negotiating contracts. You guys could be very good at connections, talking to people, networking, bringing people together. That's very much 7th house energy. Let's see, what else are you guys saying in here? And then you also said, so you have Chiron conjuncting Sun, Mercury, and also all in Capricorn. Hello. Yes, that's so true. Yay, that resonates. I'm happy. Apple user, welcome. What's going on? Let me go back up to Catherine's question. You said Venus opposite Jupiter. And then you also said Jupiter conjunct Venus. So is your Venus opposing Jupiter or is it conjuncting Jupiter? Let me know. You said, thank you guys so much for the likes. Okay, Catherine said Jupiter opposite Venus. Jupiter opposite Venus. Let me think about that. When it comes to your relationships, you might struggle. And you might struggle to enjoy. And you might struggle to have pleasures in life, if that makes sense. Like you might, you know, work really hard towards things, which is like the Jupiter energy. But then Venus is like Venus is the area where you're meant to enjoy and indulge in your relationships and these types of things. So it's like there's like that friction energy. It's like opposing, because Jupiter usually expands whatever area it's in, but now it's opposing, right? So it's like it's the opposite energy than expanding. Let's see what else you guys saying in here. Venus in the 8th house. Venus in the 8th house. Venus in the 8th house. You could be possessive when it comes to relationships. You could also attract possessive lovers. Loyalty is going to be really important to you. Betrayal is going to be something that you fear. You may have gotten cheated on at some point in your life, and then now that just like enhances that belief even more, which is unfortunate. It's like a chicken and the egg question always. It's kind of like, did it happen because it was already there, the belief, or did like, and then the belief got like confirmed, or did it just like happen because it's just like, and then that caused the belief, you know what I mean? Okay, Pluto in the 10th house trine Venus. Pluto in the 10th house. Thank you guys so much for the likes, for all the new people joining. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I am going in order. I'm going to be here for a little bit longer. So Pluto in the 10th house trine Venus in the 8th. Pluto in the 10th house, so that's going to be the area you're going to be transforming. It's going to be conjuncting your midheaven. So your career can go through a lot of ups and downs, changes, twists and turns, like a roller coaster. Yeah, when you have Pluto going through there, because it's going to be conjuncting your midheaven. Also, in terms of your public life, let me know what sign you have in there. What sign you have in there is going to kind of be like what you want your appearance to appear to the public, but you might go through a lot of changes when it comes to that. You have to go now. You really love my live. Yay. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. Yes, definitely come back soon, and definitely subscribe to my YouTube, you guys. It's called Barbara Talks. Okay. Danny says Pisces, Mercury, Sun, and Venus in the 12th house. Always too scared to look into it. Pisces, Mercury, Sun, and Venus in the 12th house. Okay, Venus in the 12th house. It's a lot of past life lovers past life enemies coming through as lovers in this lifetime. So you can have a lot of people you're attracted to. That's the thing that I think about sometimes also. It's like the way society is built, it's like, you know, everyone has to be with one person forever and these types of things. But then when I look at astrology, it's like, for example, with Venus in the 12th, you're going to have a lot of karmic lovers. That's the thing. So it's like sometimes people put themselves in like a box and then they can't work out the karma with the other people. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? So that could be something that takes place. Sun in the 12th house feels like they're here for a bigger purpose. I have a whole video on Sun in the 12th house on my YouTube channel, you guys. So go check it out. There's just so much to say. Most of the time, whenever you have 12th house placements, basically what it is, it's like something in a past life didn't get completed with that particular planet, right? So for you, it's going to be, did you also say you have Mercury in the 12th house? Okay. So for you, let's say it's going to be the sun. So there's some sort of purpose, like there's some sort of bigger purpose, something to do with your identity that didn't get completed in a past life. You're coming through this time to clear it, to close up that cycle. That's kind of how you have to look at the 12th house. Mercury in the 12th house, especially because you have Pisces in there, singer, songwriter, you're going to be very much a romantic. You could be even interested in writing in general. You could be very creative. You could be very good at stories, romantic novels, especially because Venus is in there. Like that's all romance energy that you've got going on in there. And the thing is with the Pisces, with the sun in the 12th house, sometimes what happens is like these people like basically bring up and uplift everybody else, but then they like don't uplift themselves. Like it's very much like they see things in people, so they uplift other people. Like that's kind of the energy with the sun in the 12th house. Like it's very much like uplifting of a large group of people. That's sun in the 12th house, amongst many other things. Definitely check out my YouTube channel if you're interested in learning more. Good night. No worries. You're welcome for the questions. Catherine says Neptune opposite Mars. Neptune opposite Mars. Neptune opposite Mars. Can you tell me what signs and what houses you have it in? User 517, etc. says Scorpio in the 10th house, and 10th house Pluto is in Sagittarius. Scorpio is in the 10th house, and then you have 10th house Pluto in the sign of Sagittarius. Oh, okay. So you have two signs spanning that house. Is that what you're saying? Let's see. The Miles Marion says you have Venus in the 12th house. That's why you feel like you're healing your partners. Yes, that is a huge thing with Venus in the 12th house. Yes. It's agreement. In this lifetime, you're gonna come through and help that person, which is kind of like annoying because like you don't remember it, but then it's like it's happening anyways. 12th house people are going to be very healing. Piscean people also are going to be very healing. And it's so interesting because even about Piscean people, just today I was saying this to someone, it's kind of like with the Piscean people, there's always like a familiarity. Like there's always just like a comfort that people feel around you because they feel like they know you, because it's past life, it's karmic. A lot of the time, like the 12th house people are spanning a large amount of people because it's like, you know, you've been here several times on the earth plane. So you do know a lot of people. There's a lot of karma to clear with a lot of people. That's why a lot of the time, like, let's say you have singers and musicians. There's a lot of them from back in the day, very popular singers and musicians that had sun conjunct their ascendant with the sun in the 12th house, because it's like you have to think about it as like karmically they're healing through the frequency of music, this huge crowd of people, right? and it's karmic because they probably encountered all those people in all of their past lives. That's why sometimes I see 12th house as like a last lifetime, because there's a lot of people that you basically created some sort of connection with that in this lifetime you're coming through to basically clear that connection with. So that's why a lot of the time the 12th house people feel like they have a large purpose, like they're here to serve a lot of people. It's for that reason. It's because there's karma from past lives. You know what I mean? I hope you guys are following. Let's see what else are you guys saying in here. Do you prefer whole signs when reading natal charts? Honestly, like I get that question a lot. Personally, I prefer Placidus just because it resonates with my natal chart the best. But what I will say to you guys is that there's certain things in whole signs that I do agree with. That there are certain things that I find that do resonate with me as well. But in terms of my chart, in terms of reading other people's charts, I read it as Placidus just because, again, it's like if you're going to deliver something or even if you're going to teach something, it has to be something that resonates with you and you have to understand it. Otherwise, it's kind of like if you don't understand it or if it doesn't resonate with you, then you can't really explain it. You know what I mean? But honestly, like I can see it always from all perspectives. Like I can see how certain charts resonate with certain people and for what reason. Let's see. They come to you when they're broken and then after they leave, they are fine. They leave you, LOL. Yeah, that's that Piscean 12th house energy. It's always healing. It's the healer's access. Sometimes Virgo too. Virgo energy as well. Let's see. Leo, Mars, opposite 6th house, Neptune. So your Leo, Mars is opposite your 6th house, Neptune. So I'm guessing your Neptune is in Sag if it's opposing. There's certain things that you're just not going to see clearly, even in terms of like when it comes to conflict. The Neptune energy wants everything to be like peaceful, and the Leo energy, because it's fire, it's going to want to resolve. Like there could be that friction going on in there. You really want to make money or have a career, you have a North Node in Pisces you have Pisces in the 2nd house with North Node in it. So is your question what to do for your career? Sis, where you're born / city / country can affect your birth chart. Yes, absolutely. There's people who actually do natal charts with that as well. So there's something called astrocartography. You guys can see basically where it's most like favorable for you guys to live, and sometimes your birth chart can slightly change depending on the place where you're living. You can check that out, astrocartography. You can go on astro.com. I'm pretty sure it's under extended chart selection, and then you can figure out like where all of your lines are. So for example, like if you live on your Saturn line, everything's going to be more challenging for you. It might feel like an uphill battle. If you live on your Jupiter line, it's going to be more expansive for you. Like if you want to have a more expansive career, you might want to live in countries that have Jupiter, like that are hitting the Jupiter line. Let's say you're looking for love, you want to go where the Venus line is. Like it's just going to enhance the energy and amplify it even more. So that's something you guys can look at. But yes, absolutely, it's going to, first of all, like where you're born is going to affect your birth chart. Like it's really, really important to know that. But also like when you guys move to certain places, like your birth chart can like slightly change, different things can get activated, because you have to look at it as like, okay, it's like synastry, right? So you have synastry in terms of relationships, but you also have synastry in terms of certain place where you live. So what you guys can do is you guys can look at like what is that country's birth chart and what is the synastry with your birth chart? What are the conjunctions? What are the oppositions? There's that you guys can look at as well. And a lot of the time you're going to notice like, for example, like presidents and like people like this, like there's always a conjunction going on between the country and between their natal chart, because it's sometimes like a karmic responsibility to the country. So it's like you can look at the country as like an entity of its own, as like a human of its own, of their own, right? So yeah, you can look at that as well. Okay, so let me just answer one more question and then I'm going to sign off. So this is for the White Rabbit. Let me go back up because I did start your question. You said you want to know how you can make money with your Pisces 2nd house and your North Node is in there. Okay, so for money, you guys, there's a lot of things that you guys can look at. You can see what sign you have in your 2nd house. If you guys are looking at whole signs, it's every sign's going to have a house. If you guys are looking at Placidus, it might be intercepted. So if it's intercepted, you guys can check out my YouTube video, because sometimes the energy is hidden. It might be a little bit more challenging if you don't have a sign in a particular house. So there's ways that you can balance out that energy. So that's one thing you guys can look at. Now, another thing you guys can look at is Jupiter. What's going on with Jupiter? What house is it in? How can it expand? You can also look at your midheaven for money. You can also look at your part of fortune. Now, for the White Rabbit individual, you said you have your North Node in Pisces in the 2nd house. So North Node and Pisces in the second house. Now, certain things that you can do is honestly on a huge range, because Piscean energy is like the romantic energy. They're like the dreamers, right? So it's just a matter of channeling that energy, because like sometimes Pisces can get lost in the dreams, and sometimes Pisces unconsciously might want to be led. So that's why sometimes, like, you know, there's opportunists in this world. So sometimes you'll see, especially in terms of artists and people of this sort, that there's opportunists who kind of grab them, right? Because they see the talent, they see the skill, and then the Piscean person's kind of floating around, like, you know, they're the fish, right? So they're always going with the flow, but they have this huge potential, and they have all this, like, first of all, light, healing energy, like all these sorts of things happening, right? So with the Pisces energy, it's going to be anything artistic, anything romantic. It really depends on the rest of your natal chart. Second house is going to be favorable because it's going to help you basically ground those things in, because it's that Taurus energy, right? It's going to help you bring these things through. Now, Pisces is going to be things like art, music even, right? It can be writing, it can be screenplays, it can be movies, it can be, depends on the rest of your natal chart. Like it depends, let's say you have Leo in there, let's say you have Aquarius, or even like Sag, or even Gemini, maybe even Libra in there. Then in that case, you could be interested in things like acting. The Piscean energy is about dreams. Now, what's amazing about Piscean energy and 12th house energy in general is like these people focus on their dream or vision so much that it ends up coming true, because they're thinking about it so much. Like to them, it's real. That's the thing with that Pisces energy / 12th house. It's like there's such a fine line between, like, for them, between where they blur the lines, where like it just feels so real to them, you know what I mean? And it's like, it ends up coming true because it's like, they're in it. Like when you guys envision things, you're like in that. It's like, it's basically happening for you already. That's why you guys are very good at manifesting. So there's a lot of skills. There's a lot of things that you can do. Let's see. Mars in the 12th house, is that bad or good? Okay, answering that and signing off. So Mars in the 12th house, the thing is, I don't believe in bad or good placements. I just think we have placements in our natal chart, and it's really a matter of how it's going to manifest for you and how you're going to balance that energy. The only downfall with Mars in the 12th, what I will say, is you're going to struggle with expressing your anger. You're going to want to keep the peace and love in the situation, because Pisces is all about unconditional love, and then you might fall into escapism. It could be things like traveling all the time, working all the time. It could be things like substance abuse and drug abuse, because it's like there's pent-up energy that needs to be expressed. And that's the thing, Mars in the 12th. If you were here when I was saying to the other person about the Piscean dreams and all these sorts of things, it might be a struggle for you to manifest those, for you to not manifest, because manifestation is easy for the Piscean energy. It could be a struggle for you to ground it, in the sense where it's like you don't know where to start. So it could, like, a lot of time can get wasted, if that makes sense. Like a lot of time will get wasted because it's like you're spending a lot of time in your mind, but you have to pair the action. That's what I was saying way earlier about the masculine feminine energy. It's like Pisces is that feminine energy, the 12th house. The feminine energy is the ideas and all these exciting things, but it's like, what are you going to do with that if you're not going to apply it, right? So that's the whole thing to understand. So that's the only challenge, because it's like you're going to have these great visions and ideas, but you have to basically bring that through, bring it to ground it. You have to put action along with the idea. The best example I always give is like applying for a job. When you want a job, right, in your mind, you're like, okay, I want a job. You're not sitting in your room being like, okay, I want a job. I'm going to try to manifest the job. No, well, most of the time, no one's going to knock on your door and be like, hey, like, I have a job for you. That's rarely going to happen. Like, rarely. Like, you have to be so surrendered for it to align that way, which I think as humanity, we're not there yet. Some people are, though. Some people are, I will say that. But anyways, overall, you know you want a job, so you go apply, right? That's the action. So you always want to put the action along. So that's what I mean by balancing the energy. You know this about yourself. You know you might struggle with this, so you just got to work on putting the action energy through. All right, you guys, I'm so glad you guys understand. Yay, awesome. You guys are very welcome. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your evening. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to my YouTube, Barbara Talks. Bye now. Take care.